Hi, my name's Evan, and welcome to Quick Reviews. Today we will be reviewing a book called Red Rising by Pierce Brown, a personal favorite of mine. Now, before I begin, let's see what the internet says about it. Red Rising was written in 2014. It's a dystopian science fiction novel by American author Pierce Brown. It is the first book of an eponym of the series. The novel, set in the future on Mars, follows the low-born miner Darrow as he infiltrates the ranks of the elite Gold Society. Now, as for people who have not read the series, I do recommend it. It starts out as more of a dystopian, forgetting hand gestures, dystopian sort of vibe. The basic gist of the book, I would say, is somebody born from the lowest of the low climbs their way to the top in a society where your fate is kind of decided by the origin of your family. In the series, they have a complex caste system that originally was going off a color of uniform when they left Earth. Then the more important individuals kind of got a little maniacal and egotistical. Started doing some very inhumane acts, biologically engineering and altering the physiology of the people in the uniformed ranks beneath them. Peak of the food chain would be the golds. Bottom of the food chain would be the reds. You get hair color and eye colors that represent your class. And sorry for the pitter-patter, that's my dog. He's very excitable about this sort of thing. It starts out with young Darrow of Lycos growing up in a mining colony, believing that Earth still needed them to keep gathering resources, helium some numbers, to populate and terraform Mars. And they kept getting broadcasts about that. Little did they know it was not really a pyramid scheme per se, but fake propaganda that happened hundreds of years beforehand of what is currently going on in the book. It already ended. They terraformed Mars, Mercury, the moons on the outer rim of the galaxy, the moon itself, and so on. Eventually, he and his wife start to question things, more her than him, and that curiosity gets her killed. It's a little bit more of a gruesome bit of information. So if you're uncomfortable with that sort of thing, I highly recommend you skip ahead. I'll give you like 10 seconds before I continue that part. All right, last chance. All right, here I go. His wife got hung for it, and due to the low gravity of Mars, he had to grab her by the feet and pull down. A gruesome bit of information, but it turns this from a dystopian epic into more of a revenge-driven story for this book. And then he himself is also killed, but he got drugged, and the person that's supposed to pull his feet did not do it right. And then he was given to the equivalent of, if you're a Star Wars fan, like the Rebellion. If you're not, I'd say a terrorist organization, kind of. say more like a political reformist group that kind of does some kind of sketchy stuff. They take him in as one of many possible subjects for a program where they have a grafter, as they're called, or a violet. Don't bite my hand. Sorry, I get distracted there. Or they had an individual known as a violet sculpt his body. Things get a little gruesome here again, so I'm going to skip over that bit. But once the trial is done, he has the physique of someone who has been genetically engineered, like the Golds, for hundreds of years at this point. So bone density that's roughly 12 times thicker than the average human, gold hair, gold eyes, bone sigils in his hands that are golden. The usual, and he gets put into the equivalent of rich kid boarding school. The most selective one for Mars. And it gets darker there. I'm not going to spoil anything more, but it turns into, if you're a fan of the Hunger Games, turns into a Hunger Games or Battle Royale sort of lesson. Highly recommend this book. I rated it a 10 out of 10. It's definitely not the best in the series, but it's a great opener. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful evening.